What I wanted to start with is I want to cover what is an aura, some scientific proof that auras exist, empaths and the aura, and how other people's energy fields affects you, how to protect and cleanse your auric field, how feelings and thoughts affect the human aura, what are the core colors, what do they mean, and how can they help you in life, how health problems affect the aura. We'll see how far we get. And I was, let's see, I'll go on for that. First of all, auras have been called many names through the centuries. Chi, prana, Karin, and Iliaster has been documented for over 5,000 years. Astral lights are described by ancient Eastern Indians. Chinese and Jewish mystics talk about universal energy that fills all matter. The Torn aura, or human aura, is a generally accepted term for the human energy field. The case for calling the human aura by the term spirit form requires more evaluation of evidence and less reliance on scientific proof to some of the existence of a second body superior to the physical body without material form has been a long accepted fact. So you have a physical body and a spiritual body. Okay. Spirit forms go back as far as history will take us and have been documented in religious writings for many centuries, and many people have seen what I'll share with you today. The sight of the aura with the many colors is a beautiful sight with an enormous responsibility. According to some, the ability to see the aura is part of our own evolutional development, and in time we'll all be able to see them. And I'll show you some ways that you can do this. And now here's the scientific proof. In 1869, Walter Kiltner started researching electrotherapy at the London St. Thomas Hospital in 10 years. He was put in charge of an X-ray department, but he was a progressive thinker and he invented a way to see the aura. So he used a blue dye called dicium and put this on a glass lens, which helped them see vaporous energy auras extending away from their body. So they were for living people. The longer he looked through the lens, the more sensitive his eyes became, so to that higher light spectrum. In 1911, Dr. Kiltner shows scientific evidence for the existence of the aura. This is for you scientific people. Of course, like any forward thinker, he was not believed until after he died. I know how that feels. And in 1920, and the medical Times started thinking perhaps he had something there. Oscar Bagnell had studied color blindness and got interested in Kiltner's work, and through the aura was made light rays shorter than the visible spectrum, ultraviolet light, and he saw that the colors changed from person to person. And of course there was Nikola Tesla, who is still thought of the brightest inventor of all times, and his technology, the basis of Kirlian photography and the more modern aura camera. And so that's enough about scientific proof. So I'll set that aside for now. So for the people that don't know me, I've always seen auras my whole life. I was a preemie, I was a 7-month baby, and back in the 40s, they put us in an incubator. Well, in an incubator, back then they put oxygen in, and oxygen destroys your eyes. So, because I had so much to do in this lifetime, I had a red overlay put over my eyes to protect it. Now, a red overlay there's 3 requirements for a red overlay. It's from a birth to 3 years old. There's sexual abuse, abandonment, and the fact that, in my case, that it would physically blind me, and then, I wouldn't be here today. So that's why I have that. So, I always saw people glowing, and I never really realized that glowing was, any big deal. Because as an only child, just after World War II, of 2 parents that were struggling in their own relationship, and I came too early. And so, of course, I was before his insurance and too late for the Navy and too early for insurance. So they saved the bill for me. Guy cost $325 back then. But you got to remember, it's what, $5 an hour they were working, so that was a lot of money. So, But I mean, personally, I paid it back in tenfold. I bought him a color television, the first one, a Curtis Mathis, with my money. I gave my sister my car that I bought, so, and I was always giving to the family to make sure that they were taken care of, because I appreciated, the fact that I was brought on earth. But being an only child until I was 6 years old, when my sister came along, I was, they called me baby grown-up. So I really identify with that movie, the Benjamin Buttons, because he was born old. But at 2 years old, I was communicating with adults like an adult. So they called me baby grown-up. And it seemed like I always had responsibilities. And I mean, all through my years, whenever there's an emergency, I know exactly what to do, and it's just been that way my whole life. So I don't know. It's just part of who I am. So I really didn't know, that there was any big deal about glowing. I just figured everybody saw it. I mean, I saw it on plants and animals and trees, and I used to love to go in the woods and watch the trees go back and forth, and just feel their energy, and just, they just, it always made me feel good. I was, when I moved to Pontiac Township, which is Auburn Hills, they called the woods Barb's Woods, because I wouldn't let anyone hurt the trees. If the boys wanted to build forts, I said, well, I'd help them pull the dead trees, and we'd stack them up for their forts. And I said, have fun. When they would try to hurt a little twig or sapling, I'd say, did the tree do anything to you? No, don't hurt the tree. So, and I was around 10 then, so, but still kind of, always trying to help and protect. So going through the years, still not knowing about, auras. I mean, I didn't learn about auras until my 30s. One of my coworkers came up to me. I was working in the box section, and we have like cases, and I was breaking down flats. And flats are called magazines, any newspaper, and you'd have to break them down into sections in order to sort them. Like 1 through 100 was one box section, and then 2 to 300 is another, and so on. So you didn't want to be running. Oh, here's a flat way over here, and then run over here. So you use this to break them down so that you could take it to a section and sort it. So while I was doing that, one of my coworkers, he was a maintenance man, he comes running up to me, and he looked really funny, and I said, Joe, what's the matter with you? And he wouldn't answer me. And as I looked at him, I thought, oh, he's not glowing. So I dropped everything and went after him. What he did is he went in the men's bathroom and died. So I thought, ooh, if you're not glowing, you're not going to live. So after that, I went, every time I got in an airplane, I wanted to see the pilot and co-pilot. Because if they weren't glowing, I wasn't going on that plane. I didn't know how I'd get off it, but I sure would have a heck of a time. So, but that took me actually in a good way, because I was going back from Vegas to Detroit, and we had a big old thunderstorm. And and thunderstorms are not really good on planes. So the plane dropped like 500 feet, just like woof, and then the tops opened up and things fell down, and people were crying and screaming. And I looked around at everybody and I said, oh, you're all glowing, relax, we're going to be just fine. And so when we got landed, everyone's patting me on the shoulder, thank you, because they all calmed down. It was really good. So, so then I went to I was working once again at the post office, and I was 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were just getting off break, and one of my coworkers had a heart attack, and he went right down. So he was still glowing, so I said, anyone know CPR? I said, we could save Harry. And so I ran next door, because we had 2 doors down was a fire hall. We didn't have 911 yet. And that was, it was the olden days, And so I'm pounding on the door, and the fireman looks up. We don't answer the door, and we only answer the phone. Ring. I said, that's the phone. Post office, 2 doors down, heart attack. So they came and they saved his life, and then he wanted to go back to work. I said, you're nuts. I said, you got to go to the hospital because you had a heart attack. You got to have it checked out. So that was, part of that. Well, you know how things go in life. You just, everyone has their adversity, and I just decided that I was going to try to decide how I was going to deal with it. So I was kind of tired of things. So I went to a feminist therapist, which was kind of out there. But then again, I've always been kind of a little out there. So I went to this feminist therapist, and I was talking to her, and I went to her a few times. And one day when I was talking to her, there's a bulletin board over in the corner, and I kind of looked over that bulletin board, and there's this little mousy things just bouncing around on the bulletin board. So I started laughing at it. She says, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "Well, there's this little, it looks like a mouse, and it's jumping around the bulletin board." And then this is where it gets a little weird. But, I mean, what else is weird, She says, "I dreamed I was in the land of two, and I divided myself so that I could understand what people were talking about. And I was just thinking what I was going to put on that bulletin board." So I goes, "So your bulletin board's more important than me." So she said, well, then she diverted me by saying, "Do you know what that's called?" And I said, "I have the faintest idea, It's just something run down." So that's when she told me it was an aura. Well, I never heard that word before. I mean, I read a lot. I've read a lot of books, but I never saw that word aura. So I asked her how you spell it, and she told me, and I thought, okay. So we had a newspaper back then called the Phenomena News. So, and I had looked at it a little bit, and I just thought, well, oh well. And but then I decided to look at it and find out what this aura stuff was all about. So there was a famous woman from California. Her name was Barbara Bowers. So I decided to go to that class. Now, what you don't know about me is if I'm put in a really uncomfortable situation, I turn into that turtle, that little turtle, and I'm just sitting way in the back of the class. I have been. I know it's hard to believe. And I was so uncomfortable because I was nervous. I didn't know all these people, and, it just, I'm going into something new. So I'm sitting back there, and finally I relaxed. And as soon as I relaxed, she says, because we all had our name tags on, she had to put a name on. She goes, "Barb," she says, "you see them too, and get up here." So I had to go from the back of the class, go up front next to her. And she said, "Tell me the colors." So I told her the colors that I was seeing on everybody. And then she told me what they meant, and so she basically trained me right on the spot. And then I have to tell you, I have this, my mother has always told me that I have this high moral thing, And I thought, geez, now that I know what the colors mean, then I got uncomfortable about it because I thought, I'm looking into people's souls. And so because I had become an interpreter for the deaf, and when I'm communicating with a deaf person, from this person to that person, and I'm sharing their conversation, at the end of that, I forget the conversation. So my mother said that's moral, high morals. So she said, so I also felt in my moral being that I couldn't do that. So I learned to turn it down a little bit because it's really distracting seeing, everybody flashing these different colors all the time, Once I knew what they meant, I had to turn it down. And a lot of people say they wouldn't do it, but that was me. So to tell you a little bit more about me, my mother was an empath. And one of the stories that she told me was if she sat next to somebody like an axe murderer, the longer, this is her words, the longer she sat next to the axe murderer, the more she'd feel like agreeing that it's wonderful to chop people up in little pieces. So that's why she couldn't be around people, because she'd take down their emotions. Now, at that time, I really hadn't learned about boundaries and how to protect things, so I was massively trying to learn as I got older to try to help her. But what happened to my mother, and I told her way before it was diagnosis, I said, "You have Parkinson's." In her marriage, he was repressed. But back in those days, the man was the king and the woman was the slave. And my mother was so, overcome with him that it came internally, and that's eventually how she, got the Parkinson's. And so I tried to help her. I tried to talk to her, and of course, she denied everything. My sister and I have the same story. We took my mother out individually, me and my sister. It's the same story for both of us. We took her out to lunch and shopping one time. Each one of us had one time. And all my mother did was fret. I wonder how Bill is. I wonder how he's doing. I wonder, she just kept worrying and fretting. And it was uncomfortable, because she couldn't relax and have fun and be with her daughters and enjoy herself. And when we finally got home, both of us, he's sitting there watching a football game. He was perfectly fine. So we both of us gave up.
So you told your mother she had Parkinson's. My question to you is, when you look at someone's aura, can you now distinguish between colors in the aura and different diseases and how they appear?
Well, being close to my mother, I could see that in her. And there have been times when I have seen illnesses in people. Once again, I always feel like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a diagnostic. I tell people, I strongly urge you to go to the doctor. I strongly urge you. And I had one woman strongly urged her, and she didn't go, and she ended up 3 years later having cancer and dying. If I strongly urge you, you better go. But being not a doctor, not a diagnostic, and not that, that's not my path to do. It's just that. So anyway, what I want to do now is I want to teach you all how to take care of your aura, how to cleanse it. So what I'm going to do is I have to use my cheat sheet. So first off, I want to know that you can cleanse your aura any time you want to. If you're going after your work and you're feeling tired and drained, that's because you're always giving out your energy and to others. So when you hit energy lows and nothing's going right and you're tired, it's something to consider because you're being drained by another person. When you go to the mall, or you be around people, there's some people, I call them energy suckers. And they could just, take the life out of you. My ex-husband is a good one of those. So this is what I want you to do. So I'm going to have you all take a deep breath. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. And then I want you to imagine your root chakra on your back, your root chakra. Imagine there's a rope. And we're going to use a bowling ball because that's my dad's favorite thing. We're going to imagine a bowling ball pulling down that, and we're going to imagine that pulling down and going right down to the earth, the core of the earth. And we're going to ground yourself by that. And then we're going to just watch how it feels to be connected to the earth. And also, you can also think like you can have a redwood tree, and you can feel the roots wrapping down into Mother Earth and just holding that strength of the tree. And then we're going to go look in the universe, and we're going to pull the energy of the universe right down to your crown chakra. Pull it all the way down to your root chakra, and you're going to breathe from the earth to the universe. You're going to go back and forth, and you're just going to breathe that energy. And every time you feel anything negative, you're going to send it down to the earth. And you're going to bring the good energy from the earth and universe back into you. And so another imagination you can use is imagine that you have a big pitcher of water over your head. And you just fill it with this big life force energy. And you decide what color that you want to fill that with while you're grounded and you're pulling energy from the earth, and you have this pitcher under there. And what you do is you can pick a color that you like there's a healing green color, a blue-green color, earth color, the sky color. And just pick a color that makes you feel strong, and just imagine all the energy that's going in that pitcher, and then just pour that energy right down through your body and just breathe in the energy, you know, and you can do this all the time. Anytime you're feeling low, get yourself grounded. Get that rope down to the inner, send the tree roots down and reach out in the sky, reach out in the universe, and you bring the energy in there and imagine that picture of water right on top of you with beautiful sunny sun yellow colors or blue colors or green colors, and just imagine that filling that energy all up and just refreshing it, just kind of pour it all in through your body and just let your body, I mean, I'm feeling that I'm feeling that energy, just feeling it just go through your whole body, you know, into your toes, you know, down in, going through the earth, cleansing it, pulling that beautiful energy coming back up through your body and pulling it back up. So you can do this, you know, over and over. Every time you're feeling down, you're feeling weak, you're feeling, you know, you're feeling just like, oh, it's just too much. Start grounding yourself. Use that tool that I've given you. Focus yourself down. Put your roots down to the crystals down in the cave down. Your roots are coming down there. You're just sucking up that beautiful energy. You're releasing everything negative. And then you're pulling the beautiful energy from the universe and bringing it down to you like that big picture. You just keep filling it up with blues or greens or yellows, you know, the happy colors, any color that makes you happy. I mean, some people would even do red or pink, you know, and just fill it up and just pour it down into you and just feel all that wonderful, refreshing thing. And this is a tool, and you can do this when you're at work, you know, if you have a minute, you can do it at home, but you can use this as a tool to kind of bring yourself right back to being balanced and relaxed and refreshed and get your soul back. I can see the different colors. You know, I can see that if people are all feeling this wonderful feeling through you. That's a wonderful, I like that. Okay, well, you can open your eyes now, and now we're going to go back, you know. So that's one of the tools you can use for healing your auras, you know. So that's a really, you know, a good use for your auras. Now, the yellows are happy, sunny, joyful, and so is pink, you know. And your blues is like water and peace and calmness and the rolling of the waves and that. And the greens are your nature and your trees and your plants and the wind and this, you know, the relaxing of it. And, you know, so those are the colors that I usually, you know, pick when I use those, because each one of them represents, you know, something of Mother Earth or something to bring back your energy. So how did that all feel? But so, you know, there's all kinds of energy in crystals and rocks. And all crystals and rocks, every one of them has a different type of energy. Whatever you're drawn to is what you should get. I mean, some people, you know, I was just showing somebody the other day one of the negative stones for them. And it was like malachite azurite. Now, malachite is a very strong stone, and it takes a strong person to get to that stone. And so some people, they'll feel nauseous or upset or, you know. And I actually had to do an experiment once. And I'll never do it again because, you know, except that, like I said, that's one person need, you know, some people need to show me. But I was a guest speaker at a reflexology class. And so I created an energy circle, and I asked for 2 volunteers. I said, one of you's going to feel great. The other one's going to feel rotten. You still want to do it? Oh, yeah. First person felt great. The second person felt lousy. She was mad at me because I. So, I mean, I don't want to make people feel lousy. I want to make people feel great. So, and what now is what I'm going to do is teach everyone how to create an energy circle. Now, in my privates, I get down deeper. Not only do we create the energy circle, but I tell you what I see about yourself, and I see how the crystals interact. And we talk about good crystals and bad crystals, and what's good for you, you know, what you shouldn't have, you know, it goes on like that. But for now, the basic thing is to learn how to create an energy circle. Now, I don't know how everyone else teaches this, but my rocks told me how to do this. And part of this is the sacred number 3. And we use this, I use in my number 3, I use that in creating my energy circle. And when I create the energy circle, I go around 3 times, and in a counterclockwise motion 3 times. And that's because it's a sacred number, like Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Mother Earth, Father, so it's Mother Earth, Father, Son, Sister Moon, you know. And in other religions, I know that the number 3 is, I just don't have to pick it out of the air right now, you know, but I know that that's really a sacred number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an energy circle using rocks and crystals. So as you see, I have some of my rocks. Now, believe me, I have to tell you that these rocks here, some of them were out in my backyard. And so I picked them up and I put them in there. And they're heavy. So I was going to take some of them out, and they said, no, we all want to go. So this year, because of everything that's been going on this year, the selenite is a really good start. It's a really good balancing stone, you know. So I'm going to start it by making selenite. I'm going to connect selenite behind this chair. This is dolomite, and dolomite I got from the Upper Peninsula. I've got a lot of larger pieces. I actually belong to a rock club, and if you're ever interested in finding more about rocks, you need to find your local rock club, because some of them do field trips. So I happened to go on a field trip, and I got this dolomite. And this one right here was from Arizona. My dad showed me some places to go. And this is just a mica and a neutral rock. And I just really liked it. So these are the ones that want to start. So when you're making when you're making an energy circle with crystals or rocks, now mind you, for people that don't have a lot of crystals, I made the suggestion, because I talk to my rocks. Now my rocks communicate with me, you know, and I mean, they yell at me and they tell me things. And so what they told me was, you can take a piece of paper and draw a line on it, and then connect your stones on the line so that you can make this surrounding of your chair or wherever you want to lay down. And they said that that's okay, because the paper is made of wood, and the wood comes from the earth, and the rocks are compatible with the trees, you know, and the earth. So this is a way for people that don't have a lot, that you could do this. And then you can just fill them in when you get, you know, when you get more. Now, their rocks are just as good as crystals. Crystals are great, but you can use a mixture of them. I use a mixture of rocks and crystals, because, you know, especially for people that don't have a lot, just prove that it doesn't matter what you have. You know, it's really okay. You know, so anyway, now this is another thing that I love to do, is I love to tell people about where I got these. This right here was the world's largest open pit gold mine. This was in Utah. So we had drove over there, and we're sitting in their car watching these little tiny, they're huge trucks, but they look like almost little ants way down in the bottom of the pit. I heard, Barb. I looked over there. I saw this on the ground. I looked around everybody, ran over there and grabbed it. This is mine. So this is a part of the Utah open pit gold mine. And this one right here is from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And these are both core samples, but they still have enough energy. What they drill in to see how much gold is in the rock at each different point. So that's what a core sample is.
Can you say where you find the crystals or rocks has a lot to do with the energy they contain, or is it really just the makeup of the rock?
No, it's my personally, I've been a rock hound my whole life. I mean, I had rocks and crystals when I was little. When I left to get married, the kids wanted to play with them, so I wasn't allowed to take them. And when everybody left, my dad, instead of asking me, he threw them in the driveway and paved over them. So that's the most energetic driveway in the whole in Auburn Hills. And I oh well. So I had to start over, but that's okay. No, it really doesn't matter. It's just that and I get my rocks, I like to tell stories about where I got them, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just entertaining you with them because that's my part of entertainment. I get to share. So now I'm just going to put some different, this one right here is kind of got jasper right through there, and then it's got blue in it. So it's it's just, and a little bit of green. What I found this is a little tiny bit of turquoise. But, it's so little that you can't hardly see it, but I found it, out west. So, so anyway, I like that. And this is just a piece of massive quartz. And so the whole point is, like I said, just to kind of make sure that they, whatever their points are, to point them in a direction, to go counterclockwise. Now, if you're in Australia, because it's the opposite side of the world, you do just the opposite. So if you were on the other side, because their clock, even though it, they probably goes around this way, it's actually going this way, because it's just the opposite of us. I don't know. I don't totally understand that because I'm not scientific, but I know it happens. So I'm just going to keep building some different rocks and crystals around until we get this circle done. And one of the reasons we do an energy circle, a crystal circle, is to actually, it helps heal people. And crystals can help heal people. And before I start anymore, I want to tell you another story. When I was young, I had a nice beautician. I was in my early 20s. To me, that's young. And she told me, she said, Barb, she says, my doctor, she was really upset. My doctor told me I can't work. I said, what's your problem? She said, well, I have throat cancer, and he won't let me work. And I looked at her, I says, I'll keep you working. So I brought my table, and I worked on her every day. I put stones around her on a table, and I worked on her. So I kept her working the whole time that she was going through chemo. And the doctor was really shocked. So after she got done with all her chemo and stuff, I laid her on the table. I put the stones around her in different spots. I didn't make rows of it. I just put stones everywhere I felt that she needed it. And then I did what you call hold points. And you take your head and you find the hot spots on the head. And they get so hot they almost feel like your fingers are burning off. And when that happens, that's what I experienced. That kind of sets the intention of healing. It kind of kicks in healing. So I put this big, huge, beautiful amethyst cluster on her neck. So as I'm holding these points, I'm watching this crystal get darker and darker and darker. And all of a sudden it went boom, and it shattered all over the room. I goes, took care of that rock, didn't we? But what happened, it was pulling all that chemo stuff out of her body. So, and sacrificed herself to help her. And she worked for several years more, and then she retired in Florida. So, that's one instance where the rocks and crystals are healing. And that's what I have experienced. So, and I just, I said I use them. I just think that people feel better when they sit into one of my circles. Just kind of, I see people smile afterwards. They feel good. They feel happy. So that's why I do it. And that's why I teach it. And then my rocks have told me how to do this. And each one of them tells me where they want to go. So moving on, we're going to have a little bit more of Michigan core samples.
Hey, Barb.
Huh?
I have a
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Thank you for your presentation. It's amazing. I what came to my mind was the intention of which the healing is to occur, right? So you made that beautiful example in that story, which was amazing, of like how you were helping that person with the throat cancer. And so, but I kind of think that, I mean, theoretically, I think that in part, you know, what we're channeling with the help of the crystals, because I work with crystals too. I actually sleep with mine. That it really has to do with the intention of the individual that's trying to facilitate the healing with the with whatever properties that that particular crystal has. So if you're the one that's facilitating the healing for someone, but doesn't that person that's facilitating the healing have to have the purest intention for the individual receiving? Or is it just all the crystals and you're just a neutral person in the situation?
Well, I personally always want to help people. And I've always been kind of a healer. In my work at the post office, especially the last one, I had mostly rural carriers. My back hurts, I got a headache, you know, my shoulders or whatever. So I would work on them to heal them up so they could go to work, because I didn't want to have to try to figure out who I was going to make carry their routes. So, I mean, I've always had healing hands. And you know, my dad had Parkinson's, he had Bell's palsy. He came to me one day. I just happened to be in Arizona, hi Dad, and you know, to visit him. So he came to my hotel room, and he goes, "Barbara, I'm in trouble." And he was like this, and I'm going, "Well, Dad, let's see what we can do." So I worked on him. I worked on his points. I worked on his jaw. I worked on his head. I worked in his shoulders and everything. Within 3 days, he was totally back to normal. And I didn't use any crystals at that time because I didn't have any with me. I was just visiting my dad. So I believe the crystals do help. I think it's always an intention on the person. I really believe it's the intention. My intention, if I'm ever trying to help somebody, is to do everything for their highest, you know, for their highest self, you know. But I like the crystals because they really help boost it. And they like my crystals. You know, so many people have crystals, and there's nothing wrong with it. They don't want anyone else to touch it because they feel that their crystals, you know, their crystals, and they bond to them. My crystals don't care. They said, "You can let anybody touch me. I don't really care." You know, because they kind of bonded to me because I liked touching everybody. I like helping everyone. Right now we can't. You know, the COVID is, you know, but. You know, so that's hard on people that are huggers, you know, to, you know, be who they are. And I can't help it, you know. And I'm always out there. And even when I'm in places, people radiate to me. They're always coming up and there's always talking to me. And my sister had that experience. I was at Whole Foods over here in Rochester. And this woman decided to she was my best friend for the minute, you know. And she followed me around the store, and I was with my sister and someone else. And then finally says, "Barb, we got to get going." So, you know, for me, you know, it's because I like to help others. You know, it makes me feel good to be able to do whatever I can to help everyone else. And I find that with my crystals, it helps me, it like boosts my energy. You know, if it makes any sense to you. It makes me feel, okay? Yeah, yeah, right there. And then that's next. And then this one's next. Yes. And, well, yours is better. And this is a green, I don't remember, it's a green rock. I can't not remember the name of it. But,
Amazonite?
huh?
Amazonite?
Amazonite, yeah, that's what it is. And it just really has a really good energy. There's sometimes I forget the names. And then, of course, we have our rose quartz. Yeah. And then smoky quartz.
Am I going straight out?
Just enough for the foot. You know, if you're, yeah. And rhodochrosite. I had a millionaire that wanted to buy that from me, and I said I can't sell it because it's a working rock. I mean, they would have probably given me $1 million. I wasn't going to do it. You know, there's sometimes things are more priceless than money. And this is quartz with smoky quartz inside. You can just see, that how it shines inside, which is really cool. Labradorite. Oh, labradorite. I love labradorite. It's a good spiritual stone. Yeah. No, we'll work. And this right here, this is really a cool rock. It's got a lot of tourmaline in it and a lot of glena. And I found that myself, and I was real happy. So we got just some more. Turn that the other way. The one, just one more.
This one?
No, that one. That one. Yeah.
The other way?
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Like that?
Um,
Or like this?
yeah, like that. There you go. That's the way it wanted to go. They yell at me. I'm okay. Sorry, you know. So.
Hang around Barb too long, your crystals will all yell at you too.
Yeah. Well, they'll tell you they want to go outside. They want to be cleansed. Yeah. And this right here is this is called watermelon tourmaline. It's pink and green. Yeah. This is a $50 rock. Well, it used to be, but I just love it. And the tourmaline is such a good conductor of energy. And another smoky quartz. This right here is actually amethyst. I left it outside, so it faded out. I've got this in Canada in a mine in Canada. So they have an amethyst mine there. That was just one of the smaller pieces, but some of them are so heavy. Now I have to tell you a special story about this one. This is quartz with gold in it. You can see the gold in there. My father gave me this. And then he came back the next year and he says, I want to see the rock. I want to see the rock I gave you. I looked through every single one of my rocks and I could not find it. The day my dad died, it was on the kitchen table. So, tell me about how that happened. So that's a special rock for me. A few more quartz. And then one more in a jasper.
You want to leave it open, or you're going to open it?
I'll open it. Or maybe I'll have you open it after I do this. Dogtooth calcite, that's what the ended up. Do you know why it's called dogtooth? Doesn't that look like a dog's tooth? Here, we can put this little amethyst right there.
Yeah, we just need a little guy.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Michaela. Hey, I love the help. So now, it doesn't matter what size of the crystal. It can be small, it can be large. They both have the same amount of energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going in the back, and I'm going to go counterclockwise, showing my crystal towards all the rocks. 1, 2, 3. I always feel dizzy after the third one. So now that we've had that, I would like a volunteer that wouldn't mind being filmed to come up as a. Now, Michaela, will you open the crystal so she can walk in?
Tell me where the door's at.
The door is right at the front. Yeah. Yeah. Open it. Yeah. And you have to go around to where she opens it.
And you want me in the chair?
Yeah. Wait a minute. She's opening it up. Okay. Can you get through there?
I can.
Okay.
Are you ready for me?
Yes. Now, if you're creating your own crystal, circle, you could do this yourself. You could go, and when you have it in your hand, let's see if I have one. There we go. I'm going to put one in your hand. Hold it. And I'm going to, here, hold it.
Hold it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like your fingers.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to mimic me. Front. Here, let's see how this is pointed. Front, and then go all the way to back. Okay. And then side to side. Okay. That seals you. Now you can hang on to that while we're there. Okay. So what's going on is the crystal energy circle. See, I should stand over here, I think, right? That's better. The crystal energy circle is going to, you're going to feel good in there. What's happening is radiating the energy of the crystals, and it's to be surrounding her, and it's making her aura expand and go. Your aura is stretching, stretching, stretching. I can feel it going farther and farther and farther up. And what this does, it's a good way. You can use it for meditation. You can use it for healing. You use it just while you've had a hard day and you just want to relax. And, and put yourself in. I do this at home all the time. I put myself in an energy circle.
I have is, as you are activating that, do you have to use a crystal that has a point to activate it? Because I noticed you picked up one where she was doing that with a point.
Yeah. I always, it's like a little wand. And then, like I said, I gave her a small one to show that it doesn't matter the size of the wand. And the only reason I did it, had her do it, is to show that you could do it yourself. Okay? So it doesn't matter, but yes, it should always have a point because you're pointing to the front, you're pointing to the back, you're pointing to the sides. And you're sealing, she's encapsulated in this crystal energy circle. And and she's just, I could see her just glowing. I still love that word glowing. I mean, I'm never going to get over that. And so like I said, even in feeling and healing, you don't feel good. Creating an energy circle and setting inside of it will help your blood flow. It'll help your chi. In my opinion, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a doctor of that, but in my opinion, how I've felt personally, I have felt the energy going through the person, and I've set several people in the energy circle, and they've all experienced it. It felt pretty good. So how are you feeling?
Good and happy. I can feel all their energy is incredibly playful and just very, very playful. Like I could start giggling. And I kind of feel it coming up around.
So there's the testimony, She feels, because I made it as a happy thing for her, and she's happy and giddy and giggling. So you can see how this could feel. So I'm going to see how the crystals have, and I mean, there really isn't any time limit, but we have a time limit. So, you know, I was thinking that I would like to have a couple people experience that. Now, half an hour? Okay, so how many people would like to experience it? 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6, 7. All right, so why don't we open the circle? This is my opener. And then, and by the way, I'm going to let you have that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to, you're going to, I'm going to.
She's coming home with me.
Yeah, she's coming with you. Well, you know what? I can. But I didn't see anything in her to clean. Huh?
Something you normally explain, though.
Right.
You're awesome at that.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't have anything to clean, but we'll fluff her aura up a little bit. There. Okay. Open the door for her. And doesn't matter. Just yeah, just open the door so she can get out, and so somebody else. The next person that would like to come up. Okay? You have to be aggressive. You just have to come up. No. Is it okay if I tell him your color, or would you prefer not? Sure. Okay. He's a lavender. And lavender people are really, they're great people. I'm going to fluff your aura up, you know. And that's just kind of, I like fluffing my aura up, you know. And yeah, it just, because it feels good, you know. The thing about lavender people is, I'm going to try to keep myself on the camera here. They like people. They tend to be a little bit naive. But now that I told him that, he won't be anymore. The other thing about lavender people is you can be searching. You might try a bunch of different things, but whatever it is that you click on and you like doing, you're going to be awesome at it. And that's basically, you know, one of the core things about lavender people, you know. So, and I could just see his aura just growing and spreading right now. It just, how do you feel? Oh, should we give you the? Let's let him enjoy this for a minute. You can see the enjoyment on his face.
Barb, I just wanted to ask about the opening and closing of the rock circle, because I could see myself making one and just like hopping in and out whenever I want to, but just like the importance of it or the function of it.
The reason the reason that I open and close the circle is so that it's open to allow you to go in. And then, you know, I mean, if you jump in and you're doing, you know, it's a little too much. So you open it up, you're giving yourself permission to go into the circle. And that's why I always have it opened up. After I've sealed it, it's okay to open the door because it'll come back in. And like I said, you can see how you can seal yourself in with the crystal. He's really liking that. And that's one of the good things about an energy circle. It just puts you in a kind of a, well, you know, like you, it just felt happy and joyless and blissful. Huh?
So Barb, can you use this, let's say like I just had a headache today and I could build an energy circle. Can I cleanse my headache with the stones or like with...
Yeah, you could do that. That's what I should have done yesterday. You know, yeah, the healer doesn't always heal themselves, you know. But yeah, working on crystals, just kind of going around like this. Just kind of helps, work on, the energetic and, your energies. If I had had time yesterday it was helping everybody else, I should have got one in there, put it in for myself before I came out. But you're always, when you're doing everyone else, you always think of everyone else. You never think of yourself. Okay.
I'm curious about blended auras. Is it possible that two people's auras would come together and they would blend for some kind of a task, and then would both people be able to use the circle at the same time, like if they had an issue or they physically were depleted?
Well, basically, most of the time when I see a blended aura, it's couples, I look at couples' auras to see if they're compatible or, oh boy. and I did look at yours, and together you're very strong, so I took a look at both of yours, yesterday when you were sitting together. So I thought, oh, and then I found out, and I didn't know that before. I found out you've been together for 30 years. So I thought, no wonder they're so compatible and this aura is so good. All the time. Well, that's human nature. But the aura is different than human nature. Okay, so I'm going to give you one of these. Thank you. And you can open it for the next person that would like to try. Yeah. Well, I like having you for my helper, Michaela. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to fluff your aura up too. Everybody should have their aura fluffed.
Yeah, I can feel it fluffing. It's lighter like shaving.
Barb, I have a question. Can I ask quick?
Sure.
Have you ever slept inside a circle?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have.
And what kind of effects? Dreams
What
or
I
healing?
had is lucid dreams.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah, I did. I put one all the way around my bed just to see what would happen. And yes, boy, I had the dreams. Never, but they were really nice dreams. But they were like, wow. Yeah. So yeah, I have done that once, but it was a little too much for me, so I didn't do it again. I said no, okay. But it was fun, and I think that a lot of times people use a yoga mat, and they'll put them around a yoga mat, and then they'll lay down. I know a lot of people that I've taught have done that, and they've slept in the sun, with the stones around them, and it makes them feel so warm and happy and enjoyable. So. What color? She's yellow. She's a yellow. she's like me, Yellow is the oldest and the youngest of the aura colors. You have an innocence, but you also have a reality. But you have the innocence until you're woken up, and it's usually wow, really, did that happen? And, wow, and then you actually have to face the real world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm still trying to go back to that childish innocence that I had because I don't want to play in that other world. And it's also a starting of, it could be her first time, I don't believe so, first time around the block, or, because you go through the different colors as you come back, and if you believe in reincarnation, which some people do, some people don't. But I've seen it as yellow, and then there's a green, and then there's a blue, and then there's a lavender, and then there's a, they just kind of go around in a circle with the different colors. So, and we just, but also the aura color is focused on what you're planning on doing in this life, So everybody in the core color. Now, I don't know if there's other people that talk about the core color, but your basic core color, the aura has more than one layer. There's your core color, then there's a physical layer, and then it goes another one, and then there's your spiritual. There you reach up in the earth. There's like 4 different types of auric, names, and I can't think of them right this second, but I'll look at it real quick. And but I always focus on the inner core circle of the aura, because that helps me tell the people if they're doing on the right path or if they need to keep looking, kind of push them. Like the greens are like doctors, and like grays are more like lawyers, and because they have to look at both sides, and the lawyers, so they have to be kind of more of a gray color, because it helps them look at every other thing, because they have an absence to be seeing both sides of when they have to go to court. They have to be able to be rational, and they can't be confused with all the other colors. So basically I see lawyers as a gray, Not always, but they predominantly, they have a gray in them, but you have a lot of yellow in you.
And how does that relate to what I do?
Well, yellows can do anything.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, yellows can do anything.
Perfect answer.
Yeah, and they can, because we're open to all possibilities. There's no limit, whereas as a green, they want to go to nature, and they want to heal, or they want to work with animals, they want to work with people, and blues, they're more the analytical and more businessmen and more practical, and so okay. Oh,
I can't get out yet.
no. And here's your,
Oh, thank you. Is that a quartz?
yeah, these are all Arkansas crystals that I'm passing out.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
We're going to fluff your aura up. Yeah. We'll fluff yours up a little bit too. Yeah, how'd that feel, Michaela? Yeah, I can make. Yeah, this is very powerful. I fluff everybody.
Barb, I have a question.
Yes.
Do people tend to gravitate as their favorite color? Does it tend to match their core aura color?
Sometimes, but not always.
Okay.
I mean, because, I do like yellow. I wear other colors, because yellow doesn't always look good on me. It has to be a bold yellow. The pale yellows make me feel pale, But I mean, I have to have a yellow, or, But it's true. But but I like bright colors, and vibrant, as you can tell. The purple kind of jumps out at you. But it's not always true that But a lot of people do. I do see some blues wearing a lot of blue. I see greens wearing a lot of green. My friend Marlene is green, and she loves green. It's her favorite color. So, So yeah, at times they can be, yes.
Okay, thank
But
you.
not 100%.
Okay.
Okay.
So what color am I, Barb?
Oh, let's see. Well, you're a green. Yeah. Yeah, I found interesting because I would think that you were another color. But it's kind of more like a lime green, you know, kind of, yeah, more like a lime green, which is an interesting color because I don't really see that on everybody. And a lime green, it tends to make you, you know, even though, you know, nature and stuff like that, you have a boldness about you inside that kind of shines past everything. You know, a lime green person is just a little bit more outstanding in their own self.
In the future all the time.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of, yeah, you do. You kind of go where no other else has gone before. You're always thinking ahead. Lime greens are, yeah, seers.
When I drive, I'm always looking a quarter mile, half a mile ahead of me, so I know what's going on in behind me too.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we were doing the colors earlier, I was thinking blue and green.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like they were not mixing like a lava lamp. They were just separate. So
Right.
Are people ever two core colors at once?
Well, what happens is your core color is green, but you have blue in you because you have that analytical, you know, and that's more on your, it's around your head, the blue color, but your core is green. But they don't mix. I mean, the green's around it, but the blue is that analytical part of you that I want to know. I know where I want to know where I'm going. I want to know what's been happening. I've got to see everything. I can't take anything for granted. I can't relax. You can't relax. Okay.
Barb, could I ask one more question? Have you ever combined your crystals and stones with like shells or other like elemental type of possibilities, like wood instead of paper? Like I know you said paper.
Well, you know what? Wood would work. Shells, I've never done it, but I don't know why you couldn't because it's from the sea. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't work. I just never, for me, they've never told me that they wanted to be with a shell. It doesn't mean that they couldn't be with a shell, you know. But I have to try that sometime. That's something I've never tried.
Yeah, just curious about bringing in all the different elements somehow, maybe.
Well, you know, you should try it. You should try it and see how it feels because you're very intuitive. And, you know, and with water people and stuff, you know, because you've got that aquamarine color about you, you know, you know that, right?
Actually, I feel like people have been telling me the more green color, so maybe it's changing. That's a good question.
Well, no, it's green, but there's an aquamarine around you too, especially when you were talking. The green is the core, and the aquamarine is right around on over the core. I don't know if anyone else could see that, but I see it really clear right over there.
I like that. Thank you.
Okay, let's fluff your aura up. Fluff, I know.
If you wear crystal like that on a crystal,
That's fine.
will it magnify it?
Well, yeah, you know, you're called to an amethyst crystal. I think, you know, that's good for you. That's your color, you know, that you should have. You know.
Amethyst?
Yeah.
This is moldavite.
Moldavite, but it looks like an amethyst. It was telling me my heart is amethyst, even though it's moldavite. Crystals, they like, even if they're one thing, sometimes they like to be another. I know, it's really bizarre. I know. Well, you've got a lot of pink around you, so you're really loving being in this circle, you know. But that's not your core color. Your core color is yellow. You're another yellow. Yeah. So you're open to all possibilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's youngest, oldest, innocent, and yet when you hit reality, it's like, oh my God, this is it. Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt the first time I got reality in my face. I felt like somebody slapped me in the head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, was telling Michaela, she was moving them closer, you could feel
Uh-huh.
that, how it was tucking you in like a,
Like a little blanket, yeah.
like a blanket.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Oh, wow.
And I can see your aura expanding in there. You know, it's just everything's stretching out. It's every time you sit in an energetic circle, even though the core color goes stretch, you know, it's just like I'm moving out into my space, you know. So
Because it feels like you want to breathe. Stretch and breathe.
I just wanted to make an observation, which was fascinating to me. When you stepped into that circle, all of a sudden, it like looked like it got far away. I mean, it like so much engulfed your energy that it got really tiny, like very obviously so.
Wow.
And then as you began to expand your energy, it looks like it's coming back. I mean, it literally,
Like it's a boundary.
you know, like it just surged up so much of your own energy. It's just like, and we still see it a little bit like it's smaller, and then it came back out. So it's very pronounced. It was just interesting to watch the different energies reacting to the crystals.
yeah, I know. I love it. That's why I always love it too. Everything is always so interesting to me. Auras, every time an energy transfer, anytime I work with it's like brand new to me. You know, it's like, oh no, it's like, you know, because we're all individuals, so we all have our own experiences. Okay. He's loving this. There's so much pink around him. He's just loving this, right? And she is too. You both have got a lot of pink around you too, and it's just shooting right up in the sky. I'm going to fluff both of your auras. There's so much pink. Just, you know, I'm trying to find your colors. You know, it's because they're together and they're in love. You know, even though it's been that long, you're still there. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. 30 years, that's wonderful. You know. 31. 31? Oh, okay. So, standing in the circle together, first there's just this beautiful, pink, beautiful love color. But together, when they match together, there's this royal blue. That's a combination of her color. She's more towards green, and he's more towards purple. When they get together, they're royal blue. You know. So. He's the naive one a little bit on his side, you know, and she's more a little bit nature and earthy and loving things and going on with according to your colors, you know, you love the nature, you love it, but together you make royal blue, and you know, and like I said, I've seen a lot of couples, you know, when I've matched them together. And some of them, their auras just do not fit. But together, your auras are just so beautiful together. It just almost makes you want to cry, you know. You know, because it's just so beautiful. So,
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So does royal blue, so sometimes you say blue is skepticism.
Yeah, the royal blue is a very strong, loving connection, very powerful, almost like kingly, you know, king and queen together.
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
But you're multicolored, you know. Let's see what your colors are. I see green on the top. I see lavender on the side. Let's see. Oops, I walked in front of the camera. Sorry. I meant to go by the back. You're green on one side and you're lavender on the other side. But you're predominantly green with a lavender overlay. So the green is a nature and healing and working with people, and you couldn't stand to be in a cubicle because it would just choke the life out of you. The lavender is part of your naive and innocence. You know, believing everybody, now that I told you that you're not going to do that anymore. Huh? You know that you have that in you, so you're not going to do that. When next time somebody questions you, you're going to say, well, wait a minute. How can you prove that that's true when you're telling me this? I don't necessarily believe what you're saying. Before you say, oh, yeah, you know, you'd go right into it. And the deaf people would call that eating fish. That's what they say. When somebody would believe what somebody else is saying when it wasn't being able to be proved, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, wow, you know. So I said, but you are a very nature-spirited person. You love nature, you love working with people and animals, especially animals. You have an affinity to animals, you know.
Tell my family that, please.
Okay.
I have allergies, and so they believe the opposite.
Oh, that's too bad. But you do, you know. There's always ways you could take care of that. You also like working, you like helping people.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't help someone, it's like something inside you just goes, oh, I wish I could help them. You know, it kind of hurts your heart because, you know, that's who you are, you know. But, you know, there are animals that you can not be allergic to, you know, so, you know. But working with people, even special needs, would be something that would really open your heart, you know. Well, fluff your aura up, too. Yeah, you feel that? You're a yellow. You're another yellow.
Wow.
The you know, the youngest and the oldest. All possibilities. And you probably happened to you got reality slapped in your face just like the rest of us. Because you want to think innocent, you want to think pure, you always want to think happy thoughts. And yeah. Yeah. It is pretty strong. And I can feel, I can feel your energy. Yeah, I can feel their energy. Her aura is expanding and expanding, and her energy is just shooting through the roof. Her spiritual aura is just going just like that. And it's so white and pure, you know. And that's, you know, that's just because we're opening to all possibilities. Well, it's probably something that you needed.
Probably a big block in there. Push through.
So she said that she felt a lot of stuff going in from her throat. And she's shaking, you know, so the energy, the crystals are really working powerful on her. So you can see, you know, the different powers that the energy crystals can, you know, that can do for somebody to really help them. So, okay.
Yeah, it just sneaked out.
Yeah, just now.
No.
Okay. And that's it, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for allowing me to entertain you for this aura session and crystal healing. I hope you learned something from it, and I appreciate everybody And thank you so much.